contamination of sachet and packaged water producers are raising concerns that they may lose potential clients owing to a recent research by the Ghana Statistical Service, which found alarming concentration of fecal matter in packaged water on the market. Now, the Food and Drugs Authority, which has been investigating the matter, says its independent analysis of the samples collected from the market found no such concentration and contamination of the sachet water. But this afternoon, the packaged water producers are raising fears that this very research could lead to, clients losing confidence and trust in their brands due to the safety concerns. So let's speak to the group now. Kwame Ejapon Intrais, the National Director of Public Affairs, join us in studio now. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So I'm sure that you've been monitoring the back and forth between the Ghana Statistical Service, the Food and Drugs Authority as well. But from your perspective as business owners, I'm sure that you're worried about some of these findings, aren't you?
We are very much worried, very much worried. We are very much concerned about the developments that have taken place. And in fact, we have issued a press release in connection with this same matter.
Right.
And I believe that your outfit has got a copy of it.
But let's look at some of these concerns that you pointed out in that statement. I guess ultimately it's about business as well. So some of your clients, I'm sure by now, have been calling you, and I'm sure a number of them are even raising concerns about safety. So your business may be affected. That's your fear, right?
Yes, and what has added insult to injury is the way and manner some of the media houses, especially some of the print media houses, have carried it. I don't know whether I can mention a name, but it's out there in the public.
Right.
It's out there. Chronicle, for example, came out boldly, front page, and said that consumers should be wary of the sachet water they take because, without apologies, the word I'm using is not something I should be using. But Chronicle used it, that they may find shit in the water that they may be consuming. And we found that very, very worrisome. If a newspaper will use that word, it's a word that, under normal, it's like rape. It's not mentioned. You see, and you see that people should be worried because they may find it in the water they are consuming.
Well, it may be early days yet, but have you, for instance, started assessing the impact of this research on your business? On your businesses ever since we started hearing of this news. Would you say that, patronage for some of your products have gone down?
Well, we are still in, sorry, it's still, too early to be able to assess because you have to study it over some length of time. But when the media houses, some of the radio stations went to town and asked people, we listened to their complaints, and some expressed, fear. And some of them said that, well, for this reason, we have to be extra careful with the brand that we buy, and all manner of reasons were adduced.
And I guess it brings up the issue about regulation.
Yes.
Would you say that there's a flaw in the regulatory regime, or perhaps this is just one of the issues that is coming up and you'll be able to resolve it with time?
Well, when you say flaw in the regulatory regime...
Because the concern is that you have a lot of producers of sachet water, right? Some may not necessarily even belong to the association that you have. And the feeling is that once they are not checked, they have that potential of destabilizing the market for everyone.
Well, it is possible. It's possible that you may have somebody who is doing it, hiding somewhere and doing, this sachet water or even bottled water. Is possible. Okay. But they are, a tiny, if even they are there, tiny microscopic part of people who are doing this. I can say, without any shadow of doubt, that most of us are being regulated by Food and Drugs Authority, and if you use their logo, Ghana Standards Authority. You see. But our worry has to do with the way and manner things have gone. First and foremost, if you may want me to go there, the survey was conducted, it's supposed to have been conducted in 2017, 5 years ago. So if you do a survey 5 years ago, we don't fault anybody who wants to do a survey. You can do your survey. But if you wait 5 years down the line to report to the public, then many people, if there's any truth in that report, it means many people would have suffered
from contamination,
yes,
right, as your point.
So it is too long in a day, 5 years down the line. That is our first concern. 2, when they were raising these concerns, our information is that it was done in Kumasi, and it was because one Dr. Techi from the Statistical Services had done this investigation.
Right.
And he met with stakeholders. That's the word that's being used,
Okay.
stakeholders. Now, who are more stakeholders than those of us who produce the water? But who were not represented. If you were meeting with stakeholders to give out this information as to what we must do, then obviously we should be represented. Food and Drug should be represented. Ghana Standard Authority should be represented. You know, you can't be...
But that engagement, as you're pointing out now, never happened.
It never happened.
Right.
We also heard it, you know, from the media. We also heard it from the media. We were not invited. I'm the spokesperson for the packaged water project, sachet and packaged water. I heard it from the news. Our president heard it from the news.
The challenge we may be having now is that you're speaking on behalf of businesses, and businesses ordinarily will not put out their trade secrets. So the belief is some of your members may not be meeting the standards in terms of the production requirements. You agree?
Well, let me say that, you see, as far as our association is concerned, the vast majority, that's why I'm saying, because if we get any hint of anybody who is not producing, you know, in the right way, or who has not been licensed, who has not registered with Food and Drugs Authority, if we get this information, you see, we are widespread. We are all over the country. So we have that link with everybody. So if anybody calls us from any part of the country, we quickly alert Food and Drugs Authority to go and check. And if they go and check, they will shut that company down. We have that collaboration with Food and Drugs Authority and Ghana Standards Authority. And the things they take us through, you know, the processes that Food and Drugs Authority, Ghana Standards Authority take us through, and even to some extent, we ourselves, the processes that are taken through, that we are taken through, if I go through, you realize that if there is any such E. coli or whatever, it will be dealt with along the line. You see, under normal circumstance, it will be dealt with along the line. Unless after the finished product, you know, because that is also another side.
The supply part of it, it's another side.
When I have sold, when my truck has supplied you, where you keep the water is also another ball game. And I won't be in your home or in your house to, you know, control what happens. Some people, we know, they buy the water, they go and put it on the bare floor. Some put it on the bare floor, not cemented. If you put it there, nobody knows what has happened. Maybe a dog has put there or whatever, and then you go and put it there. If it's contaminated, you don't blame me. You see, but even there, Food and Drugs will go behind us, you know, and do market surveillance, you know, on their own, and pick some of these samples and take them. Apart from they come into our factories, one, we are licensed with them. They come to license our premises and take us through all the procedure. We license our product, and that is also one aspect. They come there for inspection, some unannounced. You are there producing, and then they just bump in and say that we are coming for unannounced inspection. And they check everything, that if they find anything wrong, they will write all of them down. If they are that serious, they will shut you down. People have been shut down before. Yes. I was producing my water some years back in Kumasi. I was shut down once. They came and they found something wrong and they shut me down. It took about 1 month for me to, you know, have it, you know, rectified, for them to come for the inspection again. Our president has been shut down before. So many years. So we go through it, you see, and they take us through a rigorous approach.
How many of your, I mean, in terms of the numbers, what's your membership looking like?
You see, currently, in our books, we are talking of about 1,200, 1,500 in our books.
Production companies?
Yes, production companies. But they may be more than that, because we are an association which is free. you are not bound to belong to us.
Right.
We can't force you. We can't force you.
Which means that the water producers may be more than 1,000. And that's where a challenge could be, because in terms of regulation, you may find the FDA not having oversight over all of these institutions. You agree that they may be limited in numbers, right?
The FDA is all over the country.
Right.
They are supposed to be all over the country. In fact, we know that they are all over the regions. We also know that Ghana Standard Authority is also, there. We have factories inspectorate division, which also comes to inspect our factories. We have EPA, which also comes in. In fact, there are about 13 different entities which come in the district assemblies. They all have a part to play. Every worker in our factory is supposed to have food handlers tests done. And this is done at the assembly level through the assembly with the medical facility over there. So they test them to test whether you have hepatitis B or you have TB or whatever that Food and Drugs Authority has mandated them to look out for.
Right.
They give you certificate and all. So we have about 13 entities, and all of them play their part. And the major one is Food and Drugs Authority, you see. But our worry was the report was saying that they found about 34.1% of the water, of the source. You see,
the source as well.
The source of the water. That is what the report is saying, that they found the source to be containing E. coli, you see, which in simple terms means toilet, you see. But our worry is that, you see, in the urban areas, like say Accra, about 90% of our producers, and they are big-time producers, they have their source, you trace their source to Ghana Water Company. They use Ghana Water Company. So if you say their source, which is Ghana Water Company, has this problem, then you are indicting Ghana Water Company as well. Then you are indicting them. Meanwhile, Food and Drugs Authority will come. One, they will take samples of our raw water, that is from the source. Then they will take samples of the finished products to their factories. Apart from that, Ghana Standard Authority also does the same. Then apart from that, for my outfit, I wouldn't want to mention any name because I only want people to know what I produce. It's not fair. You see, my outfit, every month, they require that I take samples of the raw water and the finished product to the headquarters here in Accra for them to.
So that's how rigorous the process is in terms of regulation, as you're pointing out.
I was going to mention that I also have a quality assurance officer that I've employed in my outfit, my personal outfit. And then my bigger company also sends somebody once every month to also come and take samples. He's also a quality assurance officer. And then Food and Drugs Authority will come, Ghana Standard Authority will come. So if there's anything along the chain, you are...
Be that as it may, your image has been battered, as you're pointing out. As businesses and as an association, what do you intend to do in the coming days to restore the confidence? Because a lot of people rely on sachet water.
Oh, certainly.
So what do you intend to do to restore that confidence for people to know that your water is safe as an association of 1,000 groups you're pointing out to?
Well, for example, fortunately, Food and Drugs Authority has come out with a statement saying that their investigations do not point to the fact that what Ghana Statistical Service found is true. They have found something different. That one, we rely on the media houses, rely on the judgment of the entire populace. Those of us who have the privilege, like I'm here now, to talk about it, will do that. When where I produce, I also host a radio program.
Right.
Of course, it is not about water.
I get you.
Yeah, it's not about water, but I chip in some of these things to educate them. We also call our members once a while, maybe once a year. I call my members to a meeting, and then I educate them.
Yeah, but practically, and since you're talking about media platform, you're here. What's that word to the public about these findings? That assurance that you're giving them?
Well, the assurance I want to give is that we also drink the water. They should not forget. I don't produce in Greater Accra personally.
Okay.
But when I come to Greater Accra, I drink the water. So I'm also affected. All of us drink the water. We the producers. So if we are contaminating it, or we see it contaminated and we are also drinking, then obviously we won't be seen to even be sensible. You see, sensible human beings. So we also take it, and therefore want to assure them that we have the interest of the public. It's not only about the money that we get. That is the part that we can play. You are sitting here. That is the part that you can play to disseminate information to the public, to entertain, to do whatever. You see, that is also what we also do. We provide safe, potable drinking water. That is our job.
Right.
And we want to assure the public that we are bent on doing just that. And we spend huge sums of money. If we had time, I would have taken you through the process. And you yourself, you see, for example, the process goes through 3 UV lights just to take care of bacteria. 3 UV lights, one in the reverse osmosis machine, one in the water packaging machine. There's another one on top of the we call it SLF rolls, the rubber. There's a whole UV light sitting down there to take care of any bacteria that is not connected with the water, but has found its way onto the rubber to be dealt with. So 3 UV lights. So if the water passes through this bacteria, well, unless you are also strong, you'll be taken care of.
But even as we wrap up, finally, we saw that announcement from your group indicating an increment in the prices of sachet water. Given the economic position now, would you say that we should expect some more increments in the coming days?
Well,
in terms of the unit price?
No, I can't speak to that because it has not come to my
knowledge
attention
at this point. So you want to be safe.
But we also know, you see, we don't just get up and increase.
Right.
We look at so many factors. Currently, you see that the weather is very cold.
Right.
It's chilly. So we ourselves, we don't drink so much.
Right.
So if you want to increase prices, we look at all those things. And then also how hard the market is also hitting us in terms of ours is fuel, the price of the rolls and other parameters.
Right.
But that has not come to my table.
Anyway, that will be on the lookout for that space. We'll definitely be in touch. Thank you so much, Kwame, for joining us here on The Pulse. And university students have begun rationing lecture attendance as a measure of cutting down cost of transportation. We'll tell you more about that in our Living Standard series when we return. Please stay with us here on The Pulse.